Just said I was going to if she's not it's not yet here. How are you?
Okay.
Oh, I'm going to kill him.
Are you just on time?
Now, those pictures are beautiful, but I think the graphics spoil it. I want them. Were you there when there was actually one very beautiful pictures from Namibia? Brown, almost low.
Oh yeah,
like how
I do remember.
So I would like to have nice pictures and the sequences like that. But if it's too much, leave it. The last one I think was good. You know, I would like to have a beautiful community meeting, just a community meeting, you know, just a community meeting, because I'll speak on it like for a minute, and the different, you know, like the different farming systems, because here the graphics kind of distract from the real thing, if you understand what I mean. But the graphics could be different from the laptop, so maybe you show me.
Okay.
The graphics could be different on the laptop than on the phone.
Okay. No, but you do have a point. I think I also had the same feeling, you know, like the graphics might be a little too, the transitions and
they're a bit disruptive. They're a bit disruptive because they bring in a new effect, yet the real picture is a good effect.
Okay.
And even a normal PowerPoint would have done, but yes, let's see that. You know, we just PowerPoint to wear pictures. Because those, is that how it happens?
No, this is how it starts, and then it's just going to slow down.
And then you remember that it is very distracting. Even the mere stakeholder event is very distractive.
Okay.
It's very disruptive because the chairman has already introduced. We are now even to the second fully of where really it's the focus for this slideshow is about delivering money where it matters.
Okay, let me throw these in a PowerPoint.
So I would prefer, that's fine, but I would prefer, you know, like real proper trenches than even panel and what have you, but real proper farming systems. So I'd like to have a community meeting. I'd like to have you know, like a woodlot, a boundary planting, a dispersed interplanting, those mountain grown things, and then what do you know?
Okay, planting systems.
Community meeting first. Planting systems and the circles.
Okay. Okay.
It's fine.
Okay, cool. Starts, picture slideshow. Morning, Maggie. How are you?
but I think it is my poor communication because when I say slide, I actually mean PowerPoint slides.
Okay.
So I'm not very familiar with the other. Oh, I don't have them on top of my head, but there are many other multimedia. So slideshows could mean a proper slideshow as you put it. When I say slide, I really meant the simple, straightforward PowerPoint slide. Okay, that is very good.
Which one, the first one?
That picture, that one. This one? You selected it, right?
Yeah.
This is very good.
And the microphone. Yes. I don't see anyone yet. Mic check 1 2. 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 Mic check 1 2.
Let's do it. And I should just go back because I don't even have my specs. Oh, dear me. I need a real proper meeting. Like that one, yeah.
Like this, huh?
No, real proper meeting like that one down. Below, just below that one, over that one and the one below over
This one, huh?
Mm.
Okay, so I'm going to arrange them in the order that you want.
What?
I'm going to arrange them in the order that you want. So the meeting starts your presentation, right?
The meeting starts my presentation.
So that would be
The
one.
different farming systems. Next. Thank you. Yeah, but Freddie has lied now today. Missed calls. Dr. Budongo, an hour ago. Good morning, Dr. Kabogoza. Hey. 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 Hey.
Hello?
Hello. Neda.
Good morning.
He's also calling.
Good morning.
Morning. Who's it? Daniel.
Yeah, this is Daniel.
Daniel, how is it, Tozan?
Okay.
Hi. It's fine. It's a conducive atmosphere.
First, switch on your webcam and I see.
Okay. We are still testing the system.
Switch on the camera.
I
No,
wish you the best.
not your webcam.
And I hope it's the usual.
All right, just a second. I'm going to sweep it to this side.
No, the videographer's camera is what you want to see.
Who is laughing?
So funny,
What
though.
is so funny?
No, nothing. Nah.
Okay.
Daniel, is the videographer's camera connected to your laptop?
It is.
So then it should just be a matter of you tapping on the video icon and choosing the camera.
Now, which camera are we using? Are we looking at Diego?
We're looking at his webcam. Stop, wait.
Just a second. I'm coming to you.
Daniel, the board members are about to join and they are going to be not very entertained.
Okay. We are joining just in a couple of seconds.
I tell you, you've already joined. Haven't you?
Which meeting? Is it that yours is looking like as if it's a different meeting? Let me do like this. No, it won't is. Huh? Just a second. I think they sent it over to me.
Did he send it to you?
He sent it to me. He sent it to me. Open another mail.
At least mute yourselves, eh?
Okay.
Good morning, Sarah.
My mic is not on though.
Good morning, Sarah. Now I can see your mic. I think you're on. You're the very first one to join.
Okay, good morning.
Yes, we are still waiting for the rest, but maybe let me call them. But
Okay.
anyway, but let me call them.
Okay.
Good. I'm also happy.
So Sarah, let me call the rest and see and remind them to start.
Okay.
Because even me, I've not yet joined. Let me join. I know that what? Dr. Kabogoza is not well, so he has.
Yeah, that's not good. Is he in on the island or here?
He is in the island, but he says he has now gone to. He has
So where?
to the clinic.
Oh, okay. And you know, recently I'd gone for a burial of Manang.
Yeah.
You remember I lost somebody? At Sabeb.
Who went for the burial? You. Why am I getting other filters? Oh, this is what is there behind me.
Pauline.
Wanji?
Pauline.
Wanji?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, because I wanted to know whether if I put on my earphones, whether you can hear me. I've never used them before.
Okay, so now you're with the earphones?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are good.
Because at least there will be no other outside interference.
And I want to affair. Dr. Kabogoza was one of the people who had confirmed.
Because I saw him on the agenda.
Yes. What's that?
Opener.
Hello. Good morning, Dr. Nabanyime. I'm fine, thank you. How are you? Okay, Kali. It's me and Sarah online, so I'm checking on the rest.
But Pauline, I can't hear that the chairman. Was he speaking to you?
He's speaking to me, yes. He's on phone. I'm calling them on phone.
Okay. Okay.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Jammu ECOTRUST.
Leave it to last minutes.
You did a two last minute? You said I did a two last minute?
Yeah, I can't really make
It's fine.
changes.
It's fine. It's fine. Okay, so now what are you deciding? What have you decided?
I think it's okay the way it is.
Dr. Nabanyime is joining now. Panta's phone is off.
Now, Dr. Kabogoza said he's very unwell. I think he told you.
Yes, he did.
So we may have to get a field there, somebody to fill up there.
Yes.
Okay. For Panta, I haven't heard from him.
Panta's phone is off.
Completely?
Yes, completely and also.
Okay, if we don't get him, then we also feel. But let me try. You know his MTN number.
Yes, both the MTN and
Okay. So you tried
070
both.
what? Is Wazid, is Celtic, is Airtel. Wanji, tukulinze online. Good morning, how are you? Really? Ngachitalo. Ani
Pauline.
wafiridwani. Yes. Those are a long story. Ngachitalo nyo Juliet. Kankoleke nja kuddira edda nga tumaze kale.
So who is that losing again?
Juliet.
That is.
Juliet lost somebody.
Chirunda Chivejinja and one other person.
Who else?
She said the wife of Chirunda Chivejinja lost a sister, a niece, who is also a friend of Juliet.
I just knew about Chirunda Chivejinja because I know the connection between their families.
I also
didn't know about them.
I suspected as much, but I don't know when he died, so I thought maybe they were through with it.
They buried yesterday.
Yeah, so okay. Kachani omulala gwenkubira. Sitogamba tetuweddeeyo.
So, who are the options to fill, or do we double carry the luggages?
You can double carry the luggages. You can double carry the luggages. I don't know if Peter was joining in and Susie.
Okay. Were they online at that time? Did they receive the emails?
Did you register them?
Not sure. I didn't check.
No, did you register them? Is it too late to register them? But Peter attended the first one over.
He did. His name was, he did.
Good morning, Peter. I'm just wondering if you're joining us in this Zoom. This is the real one, which is held by the board. Okay. It's okay. Okay, maybe let's go through the agenda. Hopefully Panta, I'll keep trying Panta.
Okay.
I'll keep trying Panta.
No problem. I think if he is not available, it is not fatal. Don't worry. It's not fatal. And I think Dr. Kabogoza sounded genuinely unwell. I think he had just dropped.
I would even prefer that he's not genuine, but yes.
Pauline.
I mean, Kuchino, you would want to prefer that someone is just paranoid.
No,
we don't want anybody to be sick, really.
We don't want. No. We don't want any.
Yeah. Okay.
You've started sharing the.
Yes, the one I so basically this is the agenda. This is the agenda. as it is. We will have the chairman introduce the meeting, but basically using the business model. In his opening remarks, chairman will explain the business model, and then and also the agenda, how it's going to be. That this is the annual stakeholder, that this is the annual stakeholders event, and in this event we share our innovations, and that we've broken up our innovations into three different components that we are going to, that will form the agenda for the meeting today, reminding people that they can put their questions in the Q&A, and then yeah, because then you invite Sarah to introduce the next discussion. So, Mr. Chairman, you will use this slide to explain the business model. You'll use this slide to explain the business model. For you, the slide will show, but for other people, the slide will not show, so that they can even choose to read the slide or whatever it is. We will use other visuals to tell the story. And if we have time, by the time I'm through with the agenda, Jonah will show you some of those slides, some of those innovations as we have them. So yes, everybody on their slide, they have just 3 key messages that they are sending out. I think that Dr. Nabanyumia, you can explain this. I think it is straightforward, but it's just a case of we have sources, we have diversified sources of income from the donors, from private sector, but we also generate our own revenue. And our programs and initiatives are informed by performance-based. We have methods through which we quantify the real proper conservation outcomes, and it's upon the achievement of those conservation outcomes that we will deliver the resources. And then that our goal is to be able to exercise our goal and objective, really. Well, our strategic goal, as in this year and next year, we have been focusing on building an organization that has predictable long-term financing, because our programs are long-term programs and they cannot really be dictated by the donor funding windows. So from the time we started the current strategic plan that we have, which expires at the end of next year, we have been investing in initiatives to ensure that we have long-term predictable financing from all sources, from public, from private, domestic, internationally, and then you introduce Sarah. I mean, you invite Sarah. Sarah will use this slide, but I will not show the slide. We will be seeing Sarah. We will just be seeing Sarah's Sarah's image, looking at, but reading from this slide, and building on to what you have said, that we have mechanisms in place to make sure that the financing that our role as an intermediary, we have systems in place to make sure that the money is delivered where it matters. And therefore, we focus on financing local solutions to global challenges. And we make sure that every fund that we deliver balances or achieves multiple environmental objectives. That is conservation, I mean biodiversity conservation, climate resilience, but also economics and livelihoods improvement. And also we make sure that the way we deliver our financing, we remove risk from smallholder-led initiatives. And then you invite the Secretariat, who is Jonah, to show us those, to demonstrate to us how those approaches work. Then Jonah has a slideshow that has different pictures, different pictures that depict that. Then when
Pauline?
Wanji?
So after narrating all that.
Mm.
Well, how to, then I bring it for who's going to share the slide.
You say invite the secretariat
Okay.
to take us where the money goes. You invite the secretary to take us where the money is delivered. So Jonah has a slide. You just invite the secretariat, then any one of us will jump in. But I think, okay, it would have been nice, Dr. Nabanyumia, to have introduced the board, but now that we are just 3, hopefully other people will join. Jonah, do you see others joining?
Sorry?
Well, even if they are not there, you can mention their names.
Okay. Okay.
So,
yes.
but I hope I remember all of them. That's the problem.
Okay. Then there you would have invited Dr. Panta Kasoma. Dr. Panta Kasoma to speak about the work that we do in private nature reserves. Currently, we are in a process of developing a global biodiversity framework, which is called Post-2020 Global Biodiversity Framework, which will replace the current CBD convention, which is the strategy in implementing the CBD convention. And in that framework, they've highlighted the importance of having other conservation measures, other area-based conservation measures that are not necessarily national parks or forest reserves or those protected areas that are managed by government. So he uses that to introduce it, and then invites the secretariat to present the highlights of 2020 and where we are going in 2021 in as far as other effective area-based conservation measures are concerned. So we will go, this one we will use a virtual tour. We will start by showing them what we already have, which is the Rwenzori Gateway. Then we will mention that in this year, we've been preparing 2 other areas where we would like to go. In 2020, we've been preparing 2 other areas where we want to go. We have an investment plan for the corridor between Budongo and Bugoma, Central Forest Reserves. And then we also have private landowners around the Lake Victoria shores and the islands that are inviting us to work with them to have privately managed reserves in those areas. So we will visit the Rwenzori Gateway. I mean, we will have a small tour of the Rwenzori Gateway, and then we will also have we will visit this farm on the shores of Lake Victoria, where the gentleman has invited us he would like to bequeath that land to us, or he would like us to hold that land in trust for conservation. We don't want to say too many details because we haven't yet concluded the MOU in which we want to operate. Therefore, we don't want kind of like other people to hear and kind of like want to give him a better offer or something like that. So we will take them to visit, but we will not mention too many details. Then thereafter, chairman would have invited Dr. Kabogoza to introduce the concept of forest landscape restoration as a business. And Dr. Kabogoza would have read from this script, but Dr. Nabanyuma, you can actually just read from that script and then invite us to show. Now, this is the highlight of the event. On this one, we will not only take people on a virtual tour of these areas. Don't go because I'm going to ask you to do the tour of these areas. But also we are going to go to the farmers. We have our field offices. They are hosting farmers in the offices, and therefore we will go to the farmers. We will give out the checks like how we normally give out the dummy checks. We will give out the dummy checks, but the farmers that are of Rubirizi and Mitoma, they are now in year 15. They've started that stage of where some trees are ready for harvest, but also other products, other forest products are ready. Have you admitted?
Okay.
Yeah, so we will take them there and have an interaction there.
Okay, that's fine.
So basically,
Just introduce the slide and
yeah, you
okay.
the only slide that will be shown is your slide, Dr. Nabanyime, to introduce the model. But otherwise, if these people don't join in, you can invite, Sarah can actually do 2 slides. This one of delivering money where it matters, and this issue of, and you can, Sarah, because I'm not going to show that slide, you can say what you want to say.
What?
Okay, Dr. Kasoma, you're very welcome. I was just about to give away your slide.
I'm so happy that you have
So
started.
here we go. Yes, Sarah, she's so happy. Yes. So Dr. Kasoma, good morning. I can't hear you.
Unmute.
Oh, please unmute. You're still on mute, Dr. Kasoma. Ask him to unmute, maybe.
I'm actually the one who muted.
Okay, so maybe he can hear.
Or it is Jonah muting. It is Jonah muting people.
No.
Jonah can unmute people, but Dr. Kasoma has decided he's going to be mute. And I don't want to call him because he might be using.
Is he now unmuted?
No, he's not unmuted. Jonah, maybe let me stop the share. And what do you want to show us?
I mean, I've got the virtual tours.
Yeah. Maybe show us the new one. Dr. Nabanyime, would you like the farmers to greet people even during the introductions? Are they ready?
Why not? It was very nicely interactive.
You can check with them real quick.
Okay.
It can be very quick.
Okay. So maybe Jonah.
Unless it complicates issues, does it?
No, it doesn't, because they are online.
Complicate anything?
No, it doesn't. But Jonah, you're going to bring them in as panelists.
Yes, I will.
Okay, good. Then we can proceed
Already,
so that they know we are dealing with the real people.
Yes. Daniel, we can't see your film. Wanji?
In case I go off, my whatever is on and off.
Okay.
But let me hope by the time I go off, I would have done my part.
Now it looks like they're just getting in.
They're just getting in, but also the camera over is showing the wrong things. Not the wrong things, but
it's showing people's butts.
Daniel, your camera needs to avoid blank places.
Where is that?
This is in Bushenyi.
Oh, okay.
They are already there.
Yes, Daniel, instead of focusing on staff, could you please focus on the farmers?
I mean,
and their faces.
They even hear us. I don't see a public address system. No. I don't see a PA system.
There is my Kajabra. Ukalenge. Make the farmers sit in a more camera-friendly location. If the Daniel's location was a good... Daniel, if the location where you're seated was a more camera-friendly location, then it would be nice to sit the farmers there.
The sun is interfering, right? Oh dear. Oh, no, it's actually getting better.
It's getting better, eh?
It's a bit too dark.
Bit of it.
Because the sun is in their background.
Oh dear.
Well, it's 9:01.
But are people joining in?
No, I have to start the webinar first.
Okay.
It cannot join until you start.
Start the webinar.
Okay.
Start the webinar. I should have started the webinar. I thought you had actually started the webinar. You start the webinar and then you just let people be in the waiting room. Otherwise, people can think they've got the hour wrong or whatever.
Pauline,
Wanji?
when I checked on my whatever, it seems Dr. Kasuma is already, the mic is open.
Good morning, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. I know I'm in a meeting which I'm actually chairing.
I was saying, Pauline,
Yes.
that Mr. Kasuma, Dr. Kasuma's mic seems to be unmuted. Does he hear us?
Sarah, let me call him, but people have now started joining the webinar.
Okay.
Okay, since it's 9 o'clock, maybe we can start.
We've started, Doctor.
Sorry?
We've started.
Fantastic. Who will not be nice to give us a nice opening prayer before I do the opening remarks?
Chair, would you like me to say prayer since nobody is volunteering?
That would be
Very
super
nice.
perfect.
Now we know you are here.
Yeah, morning members and participants. Let's humble ourselves and pray. Lord, we thank you for having kept us alive thus far. We thank you for having maintained membership of the organization relatively intact despite the challenges. We also thank you for the general survival of most of the people we know. Although a few have succumbed, we pray that this meeting we are getting into, this webinar, proceeds according to plan, and that there are no technological hitches, as is usually wont to happen, and that we will bring it to a reasonable conclusion at about 11 o'clock. All this we pray through our Lord.
Amen.
Amen.
I know you have wished me to say our Lord Jesus Christ, but then I thought about some of the members who don't subscribe. And so I thought, oh, the Lord covers everybody.
Panta. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Dr. Panta. You make me feel. Thank you, Dr. Panta.
Anyway, it's nice to see you. I've been wondering about you.
Thank you. I'm available.
You're around.
Very
That's
well
good.
and kicking.
Good.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I can see we have so far 26 participants. I think some people may join us as we proceed. So I wish to call our meeting to order and have it opened. I will briefly explain the objectives and the agenda for the meeting, and then we dive into it. I think like Panta said, we hope that by 11 we are done. We want to welcome everybody to the meeting and thank you all for attending. Now we have a very structured agenda that I will briefly explain. First, after these opening remarks, where I will introduce briefly about our ECOTRUST business model. Then we have 3 components of the agenda. Each of those items of the agenda will be presented by one of our board members. And so we will then proceed. I want us to, first of all, sorry, I have it seems like when I am on video, my quality goes down. I don't know.
Yeah,
so let me just see your reflex.
That happens with video.
Yeah, let me just see. I hope since you've seen that I'm alive and there's no robot behind this, that's fine. Yeah. First, let me introduce our board members. I will ask them to briefly, whoever is here, to just briefly introduce himself or herself, and then I will introduce any who is not here yet, who hasn't joined us yet. But I can see we have already many of us board members. Those of you who are already familiar with ECOTRUST, who are our stakeholders, you know that every end of year, we hold this stakeholders meeting. We have always been holding it physically, most times towards the end of November into December. We are a little bit late into December. We are thinking, yes, it could be physical, but I think you all know it's very, very impractical to hold all ourselves together. So let's make do with the virtual one. And the objective of this meeting, the stakeholders meeting, is always to brief ourselves, the stakeholders, about the progress of what has been done in the year, our 2020. So through the course of the presentations, you will be getting highlights of what has been able to be undertaken in 2020. But we also have a major objective to show the stakeholders a glimpse of the following year, which is, we will give you a glimpse of what is being planned for 2021 in terms of the sustainable financing, focus of our activity implementation, and the partnerships that are unfolding, the approach of balancing conservation, climate resilience, and development, as well as livelihood. So we'll give a glimpse of that. That's really, those are the 2 main objectives of the meeting. And I thank you all for attending. The board members, Robert Nabanyumia, who's speaking now, chairing the board for this period of time, wishes to now ask my other colleagues to introduce briefly a minute, and we proceed with the ECOTRUST business model. Then we can plunge into the detailed presentations. Panta, you want to begin? Who wants to?
Yeah, I can. Panta Kasoma, currently a member of the board, quite fresh, actually, quite new, however recycled, of course. But I was there, for those of you who might not know, when ECOTRUST started many years ago, and I still take a keen interest in the success of ECOTRUST. It's my recycling to be a member again. Thank you.
So you're the grandfather chairperson. All right. Thank you.
Now, good morning, everybody. My name is Sarah Lubega. I'm also on the board. I'm a lawyer by profession. and I'm a senior partner in the law firm of Frederick Francis and Associate Advocates. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Okay. I am told that Samantha would join a bit later. Pauline, is there anybody on here, or can I just introduce that we have other board members? Samantha Kigundu, who is now in UK, but he promised to be online now. I hope she will be on. Juliet Musoke, Keith Kalijira, Mrs. Christine Lalobo, Dr. Johnny Kawogoza, are the others who may not be on here now, but they will be joining soon. Some will be.
Yeah, Christine is on travel mode.
Christine is on travel mode, she said, yes. Of course, we can't forget to remember the tragedy of what happened to our board member. We lost a board member during the course of time, Mr. Paul Mafavi. We are told he succumbed to the deadly COVID. But we pray for those who are remaining to be strengthened as we continue to deliver on managing God's nature and people. Okay, right, thank you very much. I will now move into direct to the idea of what EcoTrust focuses on, the EcoTrust business model. I informed you that we will have this in, after my introduction of the business model, we will delve into the delivering where it matters to deliver the monies. And so I will introduce that as we move along. EcoTrust business model, what is it? One of the unique opportunities that EcoTrust occupies is actually managing to be a sustainable financing organization involved in both generating resources and using the resources to deliver conservation outcomes at field level. Now, in generating resources, the business model is a combination of mainly three aspects. First is that we look at generating money from public finance, donors, and other well-wishers that are from the public domain through proposals and interaction in partnerships. So we look at public finance, we look at generating sources from the private sector, private finance, as well as from internally generated revenue by EcoTrust, trying to make a dollar generate another dollar so that at least by the time it is invested into the conservation, it's able to deliver more. Now, so we have the aspect of generating finance and the aspect of implementing activities on the ground. Now, when we invest into implementing activities on the ground through partnerships and ourselves as EcoTrust, we look at what we call performance-based financing, performance-based incentives, performance-based activity implementation. These are incentives that are given to partners and communities involved in landscape restoration, utilizing objectively verifiable approaches so that we know the outcomes are able to be objectively verified. So that is the part of ensuring that what we are financing is actually able to be measured. Now, the premise of the business model for the time that we have had this strategic plan being implemented now, we are looking at having predictable long-term financing from all the sources that we have, both public and private sector, as well as the internal sources, so that we are able to have sustainability inbuilt both in the financing, generating revenue, as well as in implementing activities on the ground. We know that the biggest problem that we've had is the continuous erosion of forest resources and other forms of biodiversity. And so there is great need for continuity in interventions to ensure there is landscape restoration activities ongoing, as well as supporting sustainable utilization of biodiversity. So that is the premise of our business model, ensuring that in the next time to come, we have a predictable long-term financing for our resources. And that business model, we want to thank everybody, the stakeholders, and particularly the board members that have helped us here to ensure that as many as possible of innovative financing is tapped into. Thank you so much, the Secretariat, for the interventions you've done, for the efforts you've done amidst the challenges we currently face. But we can guarantee our stakeholders, as we move along into the deeper presentations of what we are doing, that this is something that is tenable to ensure sustainable financing, and that this is what is necessary, and we want all partnerships to be strengthened to ensure we move towards this as a reality. Thank you very much. That's the brief introduction and the opening remarks. And I wish now to call upon Ms. Sarah Lubega to get us deeper into the next session of delivering money where it matters. Sarah, I hand over to you so that you guide us further. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Chairman. Once again, my name is Sarah Lubega. I'm a senior counsel in the law firm of Frederick Counsels and Associates Advocates, but I'm also on the board of ECOTRUST. I welcome all of you, fellow board members, the staff, and farmers and stakeholders. My role today is to introduce conservation finance, and this is basically delivering money where it matters. We are going to focus on financing for nature, that is based local solutions to global challenges. We also have multiple environmental challenges like balancing conservation, climate resilience, economic development, and livelihood improvement. We also remove the risk from smallholder-led initiatives. At this juncture, I want to invite the Secretariat to take us where the money is. Secretariat.
Thank you very much, Sarah. We are going to take you to the field today. We are going to take you to the field today, but we start with explaining to you the concept that Sarah has just mentioned. The concept of delivering money where it matters, the way we handle it as EcoTrust is that we hold consultative meetings with the different communities to identify the issues that are of concern to them. We identify the issues that are of concern to them, and also the solutions come from them. When Sarah was talking, she said, we deploy our money to address local-based solutions. So we identify the activities, the actions that need to be undertaken, And it is those actions that need to be undertaken that we design in a manner that enables them to respond to global challenges. So there you can see this is a community meeting with a communal land association in Ongo. This is a home visit to a farmer interacting with an ECOTRUST staff to identify how he would like to use that land. And then we aggregate all those actions that are coming from different people. This person here has a woodlot that he has put on his land. We allow farmers to have different farming systems. Another woodlot strictly for indigenous trees. We allow farmers to use their land in a manner that meets their own needs, in a manner that suits the land that is available. And then we aggregate the actions from the different farmers. Sometimes we allow the exotics depending on the management objective. So it doesn't, if it's going to be an agroforestry system or it's going to be an on-farm system, then we normally promote indigenous trees. But if it's a separate woodlot somewhere else, primarily designed for supporting agroforestry, then we support indigenous trees. This is another farming system where the coffee and bananas are mixed with the trees. And as we mentioned, as each one develops their land use plans, as everybody develops their land use plans, we identify milestones that will be tagged to the delivery of payments. We normally deliver the payments through systems that are accessible to the farmers. That is a circle that is managed by one of the farmer groups. And in that picture, you see a farmer representative in the middle, Mr. Nyamutare. You also see a carbon buyer from Max Hamburger, the gentleman with the Max cape on. And then you see a broker of carbon, the broker that links ECOTRUST to the carbon buyers. So the way, the way we stop the share. The way we deliver money to where it matters is that we act as an intermediary. We act as an honest broker that allows the sources of financing to be able to interact. We allow the sources of financing to be able to interact with where the activities are. We allow the farmers to be able to use their land the way they would like to use their land, because the farmers are also desirous of improving the environmental services on their land. And the way we transmit the money to them is to enable them achieve their dreams, as opposed to determining or dictating how they use the money. So we act as an honest broker that takes the land managers, be it in protected areas or in privately owned land, on small holdings or large holdings. We get them and link them to the money, to where the money is. And therefore, the money can be channeled directly to them in a number of cost-effective approaches. Now, the subsequent presentations that we are going to have will be taking us deeper. Will be taking us deeper to the field, and you'll be able to interact with the farmers themselves at the end of the session. Thank you very much. Over to you, Mr. Chairman.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, the Secretariat. And thank you, Pauline, for the presentation. Are you able to listen? Are you hearing me? Okay. Thank you so much, Pauline, for the presentation. Now, for colleagues, There is a question and answer session where you can type the questions and answers. I've seen we have one question about which indigenous trees are being promoted. So keep typing there, and then at an appropriate time, they will be answered as we move along. For now, I want to request that we can move on to the next presentation. Just type there whatever you want any clarifications on, and the question and answer. The chat could be just about us and interacting, but on the question and answer session, slide is where I want you to type the questions, and they will answer. They will be answered appropriately. I wish now to move on and call upon Dr. Panta Kasoma to present to us about area-based conservation measures being undertaken. And as Pauline said, we are now moving deeper into what actually happens when we're doing forest landscape restoration. So over to you, Dr. Panta.
Thank you, Chair. As most of you know, traditionally, conservation has been confined to, at least in recent years, in recent decades, to what we call protected areas. Most of these protected areas have been gazetted by government, either through acts of parliament or some other legislative measures. And those often are looked after mainly by government. There have been, efforts in recent years to involve communities in the management of these areas, and success has been varied depending on the area concerned. However, as you realize, these protected areas are distributed across the country, more or less as islands in a huge landscape, which is not gazetted. It is available for use by everybody, by communities. And yet it has been found that biodiversity is not necessarily confined only to these protected areas. It is it's everywhere. And even these protected areas would need some sort of linkages between them so as to maintain genetic flow. Because if they are isolated as islands and they have their discrete populations, some of these populations may not be viable in the long term if they do not occasionally get genetic mixing. And so it is necessary that there should be some sort of connectivity between these protected areas. So what ECOTRUST has been doing is concentrating on some of these areas outside the formal gazetted areas that have significant biodiversity, and it tries to work with the communities to conserve this biodiversity. And as was explained at the beginning about the model, the idea is to use incentives, particularly economic incentives, to encourage communities to participate in active conservation. but I think the details can be articulated by the Secretariat, who will illustrate to the rest of us exact interventions that are being made to have areas outside the formal gazetted areas set aside for conservation of biodiversity. So, Secretariat, are you ready to take us through?
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Kasoma. As Dr. Kasoma has mentioned, we have a number of initiatives outside the protected area system. What you're seeing out there is, we call it the Renzori Gateway. It's the very first piece of land that we acquired as EcoTrust. It used to be a degraded farmland that we have now restored back into a tropical high rainforest through assisted natural regeneration. The way we manage it is we entered into a partnership with private sector to develop tourism facilities there. There are a number of initiatives that we have, but we are just going to take you to one of the rooms. So we generate income from hosting visitors in these rooms, and the income that we generate is what we use to maintain the boundary and also to support a few of tourism initiatives in the area. We also have a nature trail in the area and a number of attractions. So for this particular site, it's ecotourism that is supporting the initiatives in this place. And during the year, we have developed a number of initiatives whereby we have invested in developing strategies, or first and foremost, identifying areas that require conservation, and then designing investment plans for those areas. So the areas that we have earmarked in this year, there are two main ones: the corridor between Budongo and Bugoma, and then the shores of Lake Victoria. So for the corridors between Budongo and Bugoma, we have developed an investment plan for that area, and we are going to be working with different landowners in that corridor to set aside some of those those forests, and some of it is already degraded, but we shall invest in restoring the connectivity between those large forest blocks to enable them to continue providing a migratory pathway especially for the chimpanzees, but plus also other sites. But in addition, we have private landowners on the shores of Lake Victoria that are inviting us to work with them or to support them to form conservancies. Some of them would like the land to be held under the EcoTrust Land Trust Program, to hold it in trust for conservation. This land that you see here is somewhere in Mukono on the shores of Lake Victoria, and it's a piece of land owned by different private landowners that are interested, that have been managing the land sustainably, and they would like this land to continue being managed that way, even after they've passed on. There are people that are currently in advanced age. Some of them have tourism establishments, but one of them is a cattle farm. Now, the owner of the cattle farm is the team leader, and they've approached us to enter into an arrangement with them where we can hold their land, where in the minimum, the land that is currently under forest will continue in perpetuity, even after they are gone. The farmland can continue as farm, but it can also be converted to forest. So we are working with these private owners to be able to expand our land trust program from Rwenzori to the Budongo Bugoma landscape, as well as to the Lake Victoria shores, so that we can have a number of models that can demonstrate how other area-based conservation measures can be effective, enabled by market incentives such as carbon offsets, but also businesses like ecotourism or even sustainable agriculture. In the Murchison landscape, we have already identified critical sites, but for the areas near Budongo Central Forest Reserve, we are specifically working with smallholder farmers who within their landscape have identified pockets of forest that they would like to set aside as community managed reserves. This is one such patch, which is Ongo community. In this community, we have mobilized and formed a communal land association that has been given a title to this parcel of land. It's 172 hectares. And the Ongo Communal Land Association has now become the body corporate responsible for managing that forest patch. These are mainly riverine forests, and so far we are working with 10 of them, but they are up to 60. By the time we started working in this area, there were about 200, but now they've been decimated to 60. But the community are desirous of continue to maintain them. So some of them, by the time they set them aside, some of the land has been degraded. But as you can see in this area, Ongo has, for example, invested in reforestation activities, mainly planting indigenous trees, similar to what is in the forest, to be able to expand the area under forest coverage. And these forests are important to them because they are riverine forest and because they support the main water sources to the communities in the area. But they also have other businesses that they have. They have a tree nursery that they use to reforest or for their own forest, but also there is a very vibrant tree growing business in that area, in that landscape of Budongo, Bugoma. So they also raise seedlings that they sell to private tree planters. So they do it as a business. They manage that forest because it is important for to protect their water sources, but also because they are able to get a livelihoods out of it. And also it cushions them against human-wildlife conflict. Because these forests are corridor forests, they support linkages between the large forest blocks. So they provide kind of like migratory stopovers or stepping stones when, for example, the chimpanzees are moving from Budongo all the way to Bugoma. They have these tiny little forests that they would like to work with. So in addition to these 10 communal land associations or community forests that we are working with, in the next year, we will be working with private forest owners that we shall enter into conservation agreements similar to what we have with the communal land associations to enable that corridor to be able to continue existing. Over to you, Mr. Chairman.
Wow, great. Thank you so much, Pauline. I can see lots of chat saying this is great. Thank you very much. I have seen some questions. I think that we will answer them after the fourth presentation so that they are all together. You never know, some of them will be answered through the next presentation. And I think stakeholders can see that area-based conservation measures are something that are made practical if, and only if, it makes sense to the people who own land there to be involved in managing it. And therefore, I want us to move to a presentation on forest landscape restoration as a business, so that we see, as we see when Pauline was presenting from the Rwenzori Gateway to the Lake Victoria proposed initiatives, the Marshall Falls initiatives, you can see that actually there are a lot of patches of forests that need to be conserved, but they are slowly being eaten away. So a lot of interventions are necessary that we are able, so that we are able to have them conserved. Let's see, what does that mean in terms of landscape restoration as a business? The next presentation is by Dr. Oh, all right, I will handle that. Dr. Kavok Goza, one of our board members, is supposed to give us information about that. He has not been able to log in, but let me explain the concept of land restoration as a business. And then I will invite the Secretariat to take the audience, to take us, the stakeholders, through the field to meet the farmers. And then after that, we will see if there's some questions are not yet answered, and then we will move on to that. Very briefly, forest landscape restoration as a business is about balancing conservation with climate resilience aspects and ensuring economic development, really supporting livelihood improvement. Because the forests are being decimated to ensure that people meet livelihoods, but that is not the way to proceed. So the best way to proceed would be to ensure that the forests exist as people live. So that's really the focus of what the intervention of ECOTRUST are trying to do in those areas where they are intervening. Now, their champion model that ECOTRUST used for land restoration, some of you are already aware of it, Trees for Global Benefit. Trees for Global Benefit is a cooperative carbon offsetting scheme linking smallholders to the global voluntary PEST markets, payment for environment service markets. I know you saw that Pauline showed us the carbon buyer in a picture somewhere with a farmer and somebody linking that transaction. This is really about ensuring that trees can go into the ground, but also that can benefit farmers even before they reach harvesting. So that champion model is being implemented in various areas, and the Secretariat will show us which areas are doing that. We know that some farmers have even reached year 15 since ECOTRUST started, and the Secretariat will show us where and how this is being done. What does ECOTRUST do? We are really about creating incentive models as well, in addition to that, where areas are not being done. So there is creating opportunities for diversified income generation. If that can be done, I think you saw where there is opportunities for ecotourism, opportunities for non-forest product utilization on a sustainable basis. So where there are opportunities for that level of diversified income generation, those sort of incentive models create an opportunity for landscape restoration where the stakeholders perceive that they will get out some investment from what they do. And this really is the gist of the matter, because the economics seems to be the bottom line in order to support us do conservation. So that sort of balancing conservation and economic development is something that we want to be supported via partnerships to ensure that, yes, when people restore land, when forests get back on land, there's a continuous sustainable flow of resources to support community survival. The other aspect about this is transforming smallholder investment horizons from short-term to longer term so that they can adopt forestry as a livelihood strategy. I think one of the excellent examples we've seen is people coming to ECOTRUST to say, can we really have this to be managed as part of the land trust? Seeing forestry as a future that will protect the landscapes, but also having an opportunity to deliver conservation outcomes for a long term. Now, that transformation of that perception to long-term forest as a livelihood strategy will help our country's landscape to be restored because there would be perceived incomes from those areas. Now, let's see how this actually, let us ask the secretariats to take us through the field to meet farmers to see how this forest land restoration can be undertaken to ensure there is some balance of utilization of resources. So I will invite the secretariat to run us through this aspect before we will move over to the questions. But even before the questions, we will get some talk from the farmers and meet them. I know that we are expecting Lillian to represent farmers to speak to us. And so let's go ahead to the secretariat. Thank you. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm saying. Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Nabanyumia. As you have mentioned, indeed, we work with smallholder farmers that put their land under improved management, and then as you can see here, we are in Hoima, or I don't know if you can see, we're in Kasese. We are in Kasese, and we have different farming systems in Kasese. But the majority of the people, the trees that you see here would be smallholder farmers and trees for global benefit. We are going to visit one of them, one of the farms, to see what is there. But basically, farmers are supported to design, or a community first is supported to design a community vision on how they would like to utilize their land. And then different farmers are supported to develop land use plans. I am using many different screens. I don't know what screen you're seeing now. I don't know. Okay, now this is it. So this is a farmer that designed to use their land under as a woodlot. But because this is Grevillea, they're able to grow beans even within the trees, even within the Grevillea, even though it's a pure woodlot. But most farmers have mixed native trees. They combine trees with other crops, and that is another system that they use. But farmers, for example, in Mount Elgon, that have very small pieces of land, do boundary planting, but they also combine, as you can see, there is a water channel in that piece of land. They also do water and soil conservation practices. Now, for Mount Elgon in particular, we have a system where they enter into contract to generate carbon offsets or to increase carbon stocks on their land, but also to produce what we call watershed services. And therefore, they have a contract that combines both watershed credits for the watershed services that they provide, but also the carbon stocks that they store on their land. And we have buyers, we have different supporters. Some supporters pay for the watershed services, and some supporters pay for the carbon offsets. Now, the people that pay for the watershed services are mainly coffee buyers, the buyers that buy, or the companies that buy coffee from the land, from the Mount Elgon landscape, because they are interested in the continued existence of water in the landscape. So they support farmers to ensure that they manage the land sustainably, so that the water the water is sufficient to generate the carbon. So normally we have a system where we mobilize farmers, or we go visit farmers. Farmers do land use plans. We support them to plant trees, and then everybody in their own system. But we have a database that disaggregates the system, but also aggregates them together to be able to quantify as a program how much carbon benefits are we generating, and therefore we send that information to the buyers, and they are able to, and they also do their carbon footprint, and they also inform us how much their activities are contributing to the atmosphere. And then at the end of the year, we match. Now, this year has been a very challenging year, whereby for about 6 months, we couldn't visit the farms. But immediately we are through with this show, I'm going to take you to the farmers, because this year that has been so challenging has demonstrated that we actually have an infrastructure on the ground to continue enabling these activities to continue. Because farming activities were not under lockdown, the farmers were able, within their own systems, to be able to do their land use plans, and also acquire seedlings from the nursery operators. And then we were able to monitor them immediately after the lockdown. But before the lockdown, we had done some monitoring for some of the farmers, and because we have adopted a bit of the digital facilities that exist, we were able to communicate with the farmers, for those that had already met their milestones, for us to be able to make their cash transfers. And for some of these communities, due to the lockdown, the slowdown in economic activity, for some of them, these cash transfers that we made to them were the only source of income from the outside world, or from Kampala, or wherever it is, that came into those communities. So we are going to take you to the farms. We are going to take you to our upcountry offices, where farmers that normally join us during these events, we are going to take you there, and then we are going to let you see at least one of the farmer leaders, where they have where they've been able to get the farmers. And then, as usual, our culture is such that during the annual stakeholders meeting, we hand over dummy checks representative of the amount of money those specific farmers have received throughout the year. I don't know which sites are ready, but I can see Lydia. Is that Mitoma? Lydia, if you can unmute yourself. Just go as is. Lydia, Daniel. Okay. So yes, those are some of the farmers from Mitoma. Lydia, which farmers do you have? Do you have Mitoma, Lubirizi, and Kasese in one room, or you have only Mitoma and Lubirizi? Lydia, where are you? I can't hear you. I can't see you.
Mitoma, Lubirizi.
You have Mitoma Lubirizi?
Mitoma and Lubirizi.
Okay. So, Lydia, you're going to be the chairperson's representative in the field, and you're going to hand over the dummy check. Do you have it? Can you display the dummy check in the camera? Can you first display the dummy check for Mitoma? Display it and read it. You start with Mitoma, Lydia. So Lydia, you
Lydia,
have...
don't worry, Lydia, you are now the chairman of the board. Don't worry, right?
So Lydia, you have Mitoma, Lubirizi, and Chitagwenda, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We have Chitagwenda CDB farmers, and they got 100,343,000 Uganda shillings.
Close that thing.
Then we have...
I want you to hand over to somebody there.
I think she's, I don't know. Lydia, do you want to read them first before you hand over, or you want to read one by one and hand over? You're currently the chairman of EcoTrust. Where are you? You're in Bushenyi, right?
In Bushenyi.
Yes. So chairman delegated to executive director has delegated to program coordinator. So you're now on behalf of the board of EcoTrust. You read for the audience, it's a global audience of about 50 people. You read what is on the check, and then you hand over, as chairman would have read. Let's see how you try and imitate Mr. Chairman. But we can't see the check and we can't see the people. Daniel, don't cut us off.
Yes, you go. You know he had. Yes.
Are you able to see us now?
Yes, we are able to see you.
Okay. Here we have farmers from Mitoma and Lubirizi. We have 4 groups. That is Chianga Farmers Group. We have Vitereko Farmers Group, Chitagwenda Farmers Group. Then you also have Katanda. I'm going to first read for Lubirizi. Lubirizi farmers last year, your payment of the carbon payment was 223 million to 28,000 shillings, Uganda shillings. Mitoma Carbon Farmers Group, we were able to obtain 63 million 884,000 shillings. Then Chitagwenda TGB farmers, you were able to obtain 110 million 343,000 shillings. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lydia. Masindi and Hoima, are you ready? Prosi, you're muted. Okay. Prosi?
Yes, Masindi, we are ready.
Okay. So Prosi, you have... Put the spotlight on Prosi. So yes, Prosi, over to you.
Hello.
Yes, Prosi, just like how Lydia did, you're now the chairman of EcoTrust in Masindi. You're the ED, you're the chairman, you're the coordinator. So please read for the international audience that is listening to you. Read for them, check by check, and then hand over, just like how Lydia did. Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, Prosi, please go ahead.
ahead.
Prosy, go ahead. We are seeing you.
Looks like Prosy is not hearing you.
I think he has frozen.
The network is really frustrating us.
Oh dear.
She will be
To
fine.
be part of this event. My name is Prosper December. I don't know whether you're hearing me.
Yes.
Okay, my name is Prosper December, and I'm the field officer for Masindi. And this is the Masindi farmers here, right here. And the farmers that are engaged in tree planting on their farm, they have been working with us and they are doing a very good job on their land. And they are here to be part of this event and part of this function. The farmers that are engaged in trees for global benefit have been able to receive 236,067 shillings. This money has gone to the farmers of Masindi, and they have got, they receive their damage check.
Prosy, you have Hoima as well, right?
The network is really frustrating. It is really frustrating. We can't really hear you.
Kindly introduce Hoima also. Have you seen Vincent?
No.
Saying that Hoima people are in Hoima, you can call on Johnson to see whether they are online. Hello? I'm saying that Hoima people are in Hoima, we can call on Johnson to see whether he's online.
Okay, thank you very much, Prosy. That's okay. We would have wanted the farmers of Masindi to speak with the stakeholders, but I think that your network is really not doing justice to them. But let's I don't see. I think Johnson is having even worse problems. And who is on? Johnson is on. Johnson and Vincent. Vincent is in Mount Elgon. And, but I will read for you, I think. If we have them before we come to an end, we will bring them on board. But we were able to send 38 million Uganda shillings to Mount Elgon, and then 76 million Uganda shillings to Hoima. Kasese, is Kasese online?
Yes, it should be online.
Okay, who is Kasese? Winnie. Winnie. Winnie is joining in as who? So hopefully we will get the Kasese farmers, because Kasese district has consistently been the best performing district. The second best performing district was Lubirizi for this year 2020, who received 223 million. followed by Chitagwenda. Chitagwenda is a very new district, but they are very vibrant. We started Chitagwenda last year in 2019. This is their second year, and it's proving to be very vibrant. The amount of money that is sent to a district is proportional to how much land has been put under improved management in that particular district, as well as how well the farmers have been able to meet their targets. So the best performing district, which is Kasese, hopefully before we end the meeting, we'll be able to go and visit Kasese, but we will also, we will go and visit Kasese. I don't know whether I'm going to hold on to the amounts because I would like to announce them when the Kasese people are online. But in addition to supporting farmers to grow trees, we also support them to invest in other enterprises that do well with trees. Remember, the theme under which we are operating is forest landscape restoration as a business. So we deploy our resources and we design incentives in a manner that enables the farmers to adopt sustainable practices because it makes business sense to them. So the pioneer farmers that were the very first farmers to adopt these practices were from the districts of Lubirizi and Mitoma. It was still Bushenyi at that time. There were three groups. There was Kianga, Bitereko, and Bunyaruguru. But Bunyaruguru has now become a district. It is now Lubirizi district. So we have two farmer groups in Lubirizi, Rieru and Kichwamba. And then we have Bitereko, Kanyawanga, and Bitereko and Kianga are now in the current day Mitoma, because I think Mitoma was a county at that time, which was eventually converted into a district. So those farmers, the very first farmers, are now in their 16th year in the program. And over the years, they've been recruiting farmers. Some of the sites, for example, Bitereko and Kianga, almost all the land that is available for tree planting has been recruited. So we can have, even in Lubirizi, in Katanda, Rieru, Kichwamba, most of the land that is available for tree planting has been recruited. We are at that stage where recruiting any more farmers would again now interfere with food security. But yet we would like to continue. Our plan is to continue engaging with the farmers in the field. And as we mentioned in the beginning, we would like farmers to adopt these practices because it makes business sense to the farmer. When the farmer is designing their land use plan, it also doubles as a business plan. So do we have any field person? Winnie? We have Kasese?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have been supporting, we have Kasese now? Okay. During the year, we've been working with the farmers of Lubirizi and Mitoma to identify ways through which we can now begin enjoying the fruits of the trees. How we can begin getting income from the existence of the trees now that we have come to more or less the end of the carbon project. So before we end, we will ask Lydia to bring a representative. Is Kasese still on? I'm told Kasese is now on.
Yes, we are.
Okay, Kasese is now on. Yeah, so we are going to go to Kasese before we come back to where Lydia is to meet the farmers of Mitoma and Lubirizi to introduce to us their business ideas. So Kasese now. So Winnie,
Yes, please.
the chairman of ECOTRUST has delegated his powers to you to introduce to us the farmers that you have. Who do you have in the room?
I have farmers from the 4 groups you're working with in Kasese.
We can't see them, but can you tell us the names of the groups and maybe introduce
Can you
whoever
adjust
the
the
leaders that
camera
we
to
have?
face the people
Can
on the
you
roof?
please adjust the camera? Adjust the camera so we can see the people in the room.
Is it okay now?
Yes, but the check is them. Can you first put down the check? We first see the people. Okay, maybe you can introduce them and what they are. Okay.
In Kasese, we have 4 farmer groups. In Kasese, we have 4 farmer groups. We have farmers from Kilembe. We have farmers from Bugoma sub-county. We have from Charumba and Rukoko sub-counties. So the 4 farmer groups were able to receive 1 billion shilling, 65,466,569. And I take this opportunity to hand them the dummy check.
My God. And we clap for the farmers of Kasese. This is great. 1 billion.
What's her name? Winnie, can you get us one? Can you get us 1 or 2 of the farmers to just say something?
We have a Gaba from West Sub County who can say something.
Yes, we are so grateful to efforts that has supported and given us the morale to conserve our environment, which was already devastated. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Another farmer? Another one?
Thank you, ECOTRUST, for supporting we farmers of Kasese to boost our environment in Kasese. My name is Mutanda Hezron. Thank you.
I think that is all we have.
Thank you very much, Prosi.
Winnie.
Sorry, thank you very much, Winnie. How can I? Thank you very much, Winnie. I can see there are a number of people that have put their hands up in the audience. Who have put their hands up in the audience, but please, we request that we put the questions in the Q&A session. And maybe, Mr. Chairman, I would like to hand the mic over to you before we go to the Mitoma Rubirizi farmers to tell us about their business cases. Maybe you could, I don't know, answer some of the questions or whatever. Let me know if you would like us to go, because hearing from the farmers of Rubirizi and Mitoma is going to be the last item on the agenda.
Yes, that's fine. Thank you very much, Pauline. I am seeing questions that are directly concerning the event of the handing over checks. How much money does this translate to people? How much? And because it depends on, you explained ably that the money that goes into a district depends on the area that is being worked on. But at an individual level, it also depends on the targets that farmer has achieved. I think that what stakeholders need to understand is whether this translates into an economic incentive. And the answer is yes. I think you saw from the farmers, as in terms of how much money goes to each person, it varies so greatly. So I think that's the question that can be answered. The other question that I think people need to, which I've been seeing flowing around here in the question chat box, is how to access farmers, but I think this can be answered by you, Pauline, briefly, and then we go to Mitoma. I think that when the farmer speaks, some of those questions can come out clearer when it is maybe it might actually be better to listen to the farmers from Mobilize before you answer most of these, before we tackle most of these questions. So let's have them before we lose them. Okay, no, let's hear from the farmers from Hoima. They've finally joined. They finally joined. Good. Yeah, okay. Hoima. Johnson, you have the mic. If you could, you're now the chairman's representative in Hoima. And we would like you to introduce to us your farmers and then also read to us what is on the checks that you're holding. And would also, if the internet allows, we would like the farmers to speak to us as well. He's on mute, eh? Or not? Johnson, we can't hear you. I can't even see his. Can you increase the volume, Johnson? We can't hear you. I'm going to just request you to wave at us, I think. Show us the check the dummy check that you have, and then hand it over to the farmers. Okay. So that check that he has given the farmers has 76,045,000 written on it as the sum of money that was transferred to Hoima during the course of 2020. Thank you very much, Johnson. If we see that your mic is working, we will probably come back to Hoima to say hello to us. Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I think that some of these questions have been answering them online, but yes, the farmers in Lubirizi and Mitoma are going to talk to us about their business case. They are not necessarily answering these questions. Now, the carbon scheme that we operate is using a standard called the Plan Vivo standard, which is a standard that was specifically designed by smallholder farmers. And yes, we have ecotourism players that are already participating in our other activities of the Land Trust program, but also some companies, some tour companies such as Classic Africa Safaris. They do also estimate their footprint and offset it on an annual basis through the program, through the Trees for Global Benefits program. And we relate with them through the Uganda Carbon Bureau. There is a relationship that has been built, facilitated by the Uganda Carbon Bureau, facilitating, enabling private sector in Uganda to also participate in the carbon offsets. Yes, we are focusing on, somebody asked, Okia Lazarus asked whether we are focusing on protected areas and surrounding communities. We are focusing on areas where we are focusing on hotspots, areas where whatever conservation action is done is able to deliver very many objectives. So the reason we select communities that are surrounding protected areas is because by working with them, we also relieve pressure from the protected areas. But we are expanding our operations. For example, next year, we will be going to the Bugoma catchment. The late Paul Mafabi would have been very pleased to know that we are extending into this area, the area where he conducted his MSc research, the area that made him fall in love with the Uganda crane, and then take on a very industrious career in wetland management. So we are pleased to be in that position. We are sad that he left us, but we are pleased to be in a position whereby we can continue his legacy, we can continue his work,
by working in the Bugoma area. So we are going to be designing a new scheme that targets that area. But and then also I mentioned how we are going to be moving into the areas around Lake Victoria. Now there is no one size fit all. For some of the places where we operate, carbon finance is not the most appropriate financing mechanism, but we design different financing mechanisms as is appropriate to the area. The carbon finance is exciting and interesting, and everybody would like to be part of it, but it's not always the most appropriate tool to address the challenges. So we like, as I mentioned earlier on, we first and foremost identify the local-based solutions that are the most appropriate for those communities, and then we design financing mechanisms that are appropriate for those solutions, as opposed to coming with the mechanisms first and then look around for what is suitable to them. So we are going to go back to Lubirizi. To Lubirizi and Mitoma. Yes, Lydia, we hand over, is it Lydia, is it Priscilla, is it Daniel? Lydia, we hand over we are back to Bushenyi now, and we would like a farmer representative or two, as you selected, to introduce to us their business idea or one of their business ideas on how they are planning to progress and making sure they optimize on benefiting from the trees that they have. Over to you, Lydia.
Okay, let us get one farmer. Amazina gange nyine namwe Lilian nyo mubintu w'ebiti akuza Ndangala itenda kusima mnonga ECOTRUST abo mulimo mulungi gw'omukola na miite abayinja bahansi tenga abayinja kusima mnonga mulugire kutegesa ebikwatire na business plan twene mnonga amiso akibira na mnonga tubene byale kibira byale bitiyitu omwe tubisangisa kafuzi konga ko mwizire mwategesa abikwatire n'ekibira kandi nokukola business endize kubasa kuyamba ekibira kyagumaho itenga bandangala twareba ngu katulisa enzoki twareba ngu kutulisa enzoki kandi tukatunga obwoki omubwingi teturakomaho honka netuza kweyongera tukole omutindo twongereho omutindo abwoki bwitu kandi ekyo kyenyini netuza kukikola tuka turebire ngu netubasa kukikola tutandikire kulisa enzoki kandi ko turamare kuzirisa turebeke ngu n'omuyinja w'ahansi yabonamu entaasa tukurabira omu kugurundana hamwe tukaguriza hamwe kandi tubongireho omutindo mwene tusima munonga ECOTRUST abw'okutegesa kureba ngu omuti gwitu guri neba turabe twabyala omuti ogwo tukuza gukozesa omu bwire bukye akuba turendekera kugitema olumwe kaboni esente kwezibire neziburaburamu kugira omuyinja arebe ekyokukola kibura asalamu atema omuti ogwe tutunga entaasa konka kubigiranga kutwegire okukola ogundi mulimo gw'okubisa enzoki itwitwe twerebire ngu kuba netubisa enzoki ziitu tukakola na pulaani turenga akulisa tukola pulaani y'okuprocesinga kureba ngu twasaarura obwoki bulungi kandi obwoki obuli nakyo tukabupakinga kandi tukuza kukoma kupakinga konka netuza kuhindura nantaasa y'omuntu w'ahansi mwebale munonga ECOTRUST amazina ganje nyine nami Lilian ndi chairperson wa Ndangala nakyo hane mwebale munonga.
We can get people to come and get a bench.
Lydia, are you going to Kuhindra?
Okay, we have here 4 groups: Ndangala Nyachianja Tunguche group, Awiteleko Farmers group, Katanda Tree Growers Association, and also we have Chianga tree farmers. They have been planting trees for the last 15 years. Now because they needed some income, they have started to cut their trees when they are not yet mature, but they have been sensitized about business planning, and all these 4 groups have chosen beekeeping to engage in beekeeping as a business. So they have said they are going to all of them as farmers, they are going to engage into beekeeping so that they are able to produce honey and sell as a group so that they are able to earn more money, and also they are able to, every farmer is able to earn so that they are able to not to they are able to sustain and manage their forests. That's what the lady said.
Thank you.
Now we are going to reach giving them their startup capital. And we have the chairman of LC5, the Vidizi district, who is going to do us that activity.
I am honored to be invited to decide on this function of handing over the checks to these 4 groups. I'm so proud that the groups 2 are from my district, and I'm already aware of what they are doing, what they have done, tree planting. I'm grateful to ECOTRUST for thinking about by the diversification of their business, knowing that tree planting is a very long-term venture, and these people need to survive, but we have given them another alternative source of income, which is so great. And to my farmers from mobilize, this is not a new business, because I already invited Swiss Contact, which has been giving technical assistance to beekeep farmers, and beekeep farmers in Mobilize have even gone ahead in value addition, and will be using all the byproducts of honey, like propolis, and wax. After some are even making some wonderful ladies jelly. So I hope we are going to join that group. And this group of nations from Ndangara, they even already have some machines which are supposed to use honey. It's not a new business. And maybe because we don't come to Rubirizi, we don't know Rubirizi, we have the best honey in the whole country. And we already have an outlet, so they are not going to give us to sell their products. We have a shop which is meant for the farmers. And I take this honor, give you these checks. The first one is in Dangara, 3 TGP farmers group, which is 20 million. Congratulations. The second group is Katanda PG Farmers Group, which is also getting 20 million. Of course, this is from Toma, and the third being my neighbors, and also I have the honor to bring to the check of 20 million. This is younger group. And the fourth and last one is the Teleco Growers Farmers Group, which is also receiving 20 million. I wish you success, and I hope you are going to use this money for more serious business.
Thank you very much. I think now we can talk about it. And I think
Okay, great. Thank you very much to the chairman, LC5. Lizzie, that's very great. Thank you for the job well done. Pauline.
Mr. Chairman.
I am hoping that we can quickly do a few. I can see 3 hands of people up.
I think they've put their questions in the Q&A, and I've been answering their questions direct. I've been typing answers. Unless there is a specific question that you would like me to respond to orally, but I think that we've responded to all the questions. Unless you can highlight a question that you would like me to answer orally.
Oh, you've responded to all the questions. You
Yeah,
even told the guy who wants the list of indigenous trees to...
No, that one I was going to...
Dr.
Yeah, that one I am leaving to you.
Okay. So, if there is a quick, I might use the few minutes remaining to just see if there is any question you can divide to see if it is either Panta or Sarah or you or whatever. It will not be necessarily. But I see you have, you said you've answered all of them, right? Okay.
I said most of them, but you can pick out the ones which you feel I haven't eloquently responded to, or the ones that have left to you. But yes, there are some 8 open questions, but many of them are really thanks. 3 of them are thank you. 4 of them are thank you, but some of them I've responded to them, or they are similar to what I've responded to. But please highlight whatever question you would like me to respond to. I'll do that.
They will not be to you, don't worry. They will be to any of the panelists.
I'm not worried. I'm not worried.
The one from Sam Ward connected with the, who is saying he has been looking for a resource. I think that's the one we've just talked about, that there is a new list of all indigenous trees in Uganda, a new book on indigenous trees and their uses by Dr. Hamilton and Dr. Kalema. It was launched recently at the Museum at Nature Uganda, and is available at the Botany Department in Makerere. He can do that, really. Qualifying criteria, I think you answered that, right? From Egan Carstens. What is the qualifying criteria required by community-based organic agriculture organization for membership to ECOTRUST? As ecotourism players who take on mandates to educate communities on eco, how can we be inclusive in skills development under ECOTRUST? Some whom are safaris. Pauline, did you answer that? Are you only focusing on protected areas and surrounding communities? If not, are there means upon which such initiatives can be promoted outside protect? I think that has been answered. Who is this Chakavi, Madam Nantong Wasoma? Who was that? Then thanks, Madam. Thanks, Madam. Thanks, Madam. I think actually you've answered all of them, so we can actually move on and thank people.
Mr. Chairman, we are also active on social media channels, but also some of the farmers, I think they've said their network is so poor they can't even access. So a farmer has sent a text question, which is, I just want to read it out. Bees are a major pollinating agent for trees, crops, and crop sustainability. What are your plans on that? This is a question by Agaba Paul of Kasese. And then the next question is that what plans are you having on the destructive rains, as a result of afforestation. And Dr. Nabanyibia, you are a forester, I think. Maybe you could answer this question of what are we doing about the destructive rains as a result of afforestation. I don't know whether Augustine is attributing the rains to afforestation or not.
Good one.
And then
it is not about afforestation.
I think it was deforestation he meant.
No, he's saying there is so much rain because of afforestation, and the rain has become destructive. And maybe we just need to inform him that the rain is not because of afforestation only, but I think climate change and other issues. However, we need to let them that the rain can actually not be destructive if our land is more protected by the vegetation. So it's a combination of issues there, which I think we need to discuss via awareness raising activities to our farmers a little bit more, so that there is not an impression, because that can be really dangerous impression, that planting more trees can cause more rain and we're in trouble. So that would be very counterproductive. So Dr. Panta, you see we have a lot of work to do to ensure that.
Yeah, looks like, but definitely one cannot blame afforestation causing too much rain and therefore more destruction. It will be the opposite, really.
Yeah. Okay. Any other activity?
Yes, I would like to take opportunity to maybe make some also additional information on that. The farmers in Kasese, there is a saying that misfortunes happen in threes. The farmers in Kasese, in addition to the lockdown and all the challenges associated with the COVID-19, they also suffered heavily from floods this year, including some of our farmers, whereby some of the trees were washed away by River Nyamwamba and the other rivers that burst through the seams. So maybe Augustine is one of our farmers, actually. He's one of the major nursery operators. He's a local farmer, but he also runs a commercial nursery that supplies the farmers that we are working with. And there are two things. One is that there is a risk fund whereby the farmers that would like to replant, to replace the trees that were lost, can get some support through Augustine himself, because the support is normally through the acquisition of free seedlings to plant. But also one of the things that that happened was that we were able to draw from that risk fund and support some of the farmers during that crisis when they couldn't even live in their homes, or some of them, their homes had been washed away. We were able to draw from the emergency, from our risk fund and give them some emergency relief. I think we also got one of our promoters, one of our supporters, to send them water purifiers so that they are able to have access to clean water. Now, this risk fund is created by the carbon farmers. Every ton of carbon that they sell makes a contribution to that risk fund, and it has grown and evolved to the point that now it is even serving as a social security to these farmers. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, great. I think that if there is no other activity on the Facebook page on live there, which they have asked, then we seem answered more questions. Oh no, there is guy here, the book and author. It's called A Field Guide to the Forestries of Uganda. Very easy, by Hamilton and Kalema. And you can follow up that one very easily. Jenny, are you going to expand your technical specification to different planting technical specs beyond the current native species, woodlot, boundary planting, and dispersed trees? What's that? If so, when and for which areas? sure whether I understand that. Are we going to expand technical specifications to buffer zones? Okay, that's for the Pauline. You've seen that from Jenny?
Yes, I've seen that from Jenny. Jenny, nice to hear from you. Jenny Farmer is associated with the Uganda Carbon Bureau, but also we've worked with Jenny before as an intern, as a volunteer when she was still very young, and we would like to, of course, continue interacting with Jenny. So Jenny, yes, we are expanding to this area. As I said, our actions are governed by what is on the ground. So we will do a feasibility assessment when we go into the area. If the technical specifications that are in this area are that we already have, this gentleman is saying we've not answered his question well. If you could just maybe call Miriam to explain to you the question. So yes, we will be developing, if the situation on the ground is such that the farmers can adopt the existing technical specifications, we will not develop new technical specifications. But if we find that they have different, due to the different socioeconomics or the different biophysical characteristics, it is so required that we respond, that we develop new technical specifications, then yes, we will develop new technical specifications. We are already in the buffer zones of Queen Elizabeth, where the new place we are going to is the Bugoma. Mr. Chairman, the other farmer that had requested a question, I'd asked the question is Paul Agava, also from Kasese, that had requested, had a question on what is our plan on bees, promoting them as a major pollinating agent. Could I go ahead and answer that one?
Yes, please.
Okay.
For farmers, we don't delay at all.
Yes, Paul Agaba, thank you very much. Your question has been forwarded by Miriam from our Kasese office. And yes, as you saw in the picture from Lubirizi and Mitoma, the farmers in Lubirizi in that area have decided to make beekeeping the business that they will earn from the trees. But of course, as they raise bees on their farms, the bees are also providing a pollination service. So I think we maybe you talk to your leaders, talk to Lydia. This whole concept of developing business cases for the different area has been, this year in 2020 has been piloted in Lubirizi and Mitoma because they were the very first farmers. But next year, our plan is to work with the farmers in Kasese and Hoima and Masindi before we finally go to Mount Elgon. So work with your leaders and identify businesses that you would like to put in the trees. And if tree farming beekeeping is one of them, so yes, that is also another area that we will work with you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Good, thank you very much. I think we have only 3 more questions. We keep this to a close because I am thinking, first, I must thank stakeholders. I'm excited because the level of chatting in the chat box and the question chat box is also very good. Most of them are thanking EcoTrust for the great business model, which we must also say thank you, Secretariat, for the implementation robustness at field level, because always the details, what happens most to ensure that every strategy is successful. But so let's answer just these 3, I think there are 3 questions. One is, how can farmers in Ibukedi sub-region develop partnership and collaboration with the EcoTrust and other development actors towards the reduction of the wetland encroachment, rampant deforestation? You mentioned a bit of it when we are talking about moving towards Bugoma, Pauline, and I think maybe he got a little bit more excited to say, can you stretch your leg to a little bit more areas? Then the other one is, my heart goes out to Bugoma Central Reserve. That's currently facing a huge challenge of commercialized agriculture. EcoTrust, I know, has been doing some work to support the efforts to save Bugoma. But is this enough? Is this enough? and this has to be more collaborative. I like the way he has put it, because even with the partnerships of civil society, private sector, you saw that lots of work needed to go into that effort to ensure that there is some rescinding of some decisions. I know that this is on people's hearts. ECOTRUST has been involved, and we still need to be involved, not only for Bugoma, but many more. So I think that that's a very important concern, that we need to keep interacting with stakeholders to support more efforts towards buffering the hotspots. You'll add on to that, Pauline. Then this one is also for you, Pauline. I need to know your range of operation. I thought we mentioned, but he says I'm from Katakwi, and I don't seem to see any entity organizing, creating awareness or taking to communities on tree planting commercial purposes. Yet we have too much idle land that could be utilized for this. How do we be part of you as ECOTRUST? I think this is the question of what we've been discussing, how far do you spread and how much do you do? But I think the logic in terms of scaling up comes from to mind from Yakub Patrick saying, yes, there will be opportunities that way. So I think that is something that we might have to end with the intervention on that. Otherwise, this one just says, thank you so much, Pauline. They like the answer. So the rest, we can interact via our website, via the activity on the Facebook. And because we may not exhaust all the answers here, and I think that there was no question on protected area for Panta. People didn't know that Panta is chairman of the Uganda Wildlife Authority Board, so he's in charge of protected areas for wildlife.
Probably there was no question.
I don't see any question. And I don't see any question for our senior counsel, Sarah, here about the delivering money. I think Pauline has answered most of them. So,
somebody wanted to know whether ECOTRUST works around Kibale or plans to do anything in Karamoja.
Yes. Okay. That one, Kibale. Did you type anything there for him? Let me see. No. So you will summarize that, Pauline, in 1 minute, and we keep this back close.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'll start with Bugoma. Venex, we have been in this struggle together. And yes, you're right. The efforts are not enough because we need all hands on deck. We need everybody to deploy whatever resources they have to be able to make sure that that landscape is not converted into one big block of sugarcane. And that is one of the reasons as to why our land trust program is picking up that area as a priority area. We would like to work with the current landholders that exist to give them an offer that is more lucrative than sugarcane. For the government of Uganda, we are hoping that the efforts that NFA is doing to save the forest from, and also Bunyoro Kingdom, the most recent interactions we have had that you are aware of, everybody's in support of maintaining forest as opposed to converting to sugarcane. So we are in this together, and we would like as many people as possible to join us in this. But I mean, your guess is as good as mine on how far our efforts are going to take us. Yes, Bukedi is part of the Mpologoma catchment, and we will be expanding into that area. Katakwi, Karamoja, the vision of ECOTRUST is to cover the whole country and even beyond, eventually to cover the whole of Africa or to be present in all countries in Africa. But we take a learning by doing approach. We expand, we go through the normal growth curve. We only go into an area when we are able to. I wish we were the UN. I wish we were, we had as many resources before us as government of Uganda, but no, we only have limited resources. So we expand as much as the resources that can allow us. But we, as I mentioned at the beginning, we are demand driven. So we encourage as much interaction as possible, because it is only when people invite us and show us the innovations that they have that we are able to convert those innovations into financing mechanisms. So I think Jonah dropped, or someone at EcoTrust already sent, by the time you're on this Zoom, you have our email contacts. But if you can drop us emails at support@ecotrust.or.ug, and we can continue discussing. We need innovations from the ground to be forwarded to us so that we can find ways of designing additional financing mechanisms that can bring those innovations into fruition. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Great. Thank you so much, Pauline, and thank you so much, our colleagues, the board members, and all the stakeholders. We are so excited for the support that we get from you people most of the time. And I want to take this opportunity to really pass over on behalf of the board, great thanks to the farmers that have been involved at field level for the work that they've done at the field level, because we have actually touched what we always speak about, and we are so grateful. We thank the people who have got excited, because then we can link up via email on where you send to that support email from EcoTrust. We are so grateful. The same applies to the guy who actually was saying that they are supporting people from Minziro, Sango Bay area. Kindly get in touch and we'll work more, because your question was saying, do you really think NFA is good? We will discuss more details on case-by-case basis when we interact and get in touch with us at the Secretariat. So thank you very much. And because we do not have more questions, but thank you, we want to ask that let the good Lord protect all of you, and we continue supporting each other on protecting the environment and trying to balance. This is a balancing act, balancing conservation, balance climate resilience, and ensuring economic development, because it's actually the most cost-effective way to ensure that we will have our natural resources surviving as we continue to benefit from them. Great, thank you very much, and wish you well. Unless you have any closing admin remarks from Pauline, do you? No.
Yes, to wish the participants a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. And we are looking forward to collaborating with so many of you. Yes, we are looking forward to another fruitful year. And not even COVID is going to hold us down. We are
Amen. Not even COVID.
And this stakeholders event is a testimony to the fact that we have already embraced digital solutions. So even for the farmer recruitment, monitoring, and what have you, one of the innovations for the new year is we are migrating onto a platform where in some cases farmers will be able to recruit themselves using an app. We will be able to monitor farmers using remote sensing, such that if there is another calamity that locks us down, we are still able to transfer money to where it matters because we have embraced digital solutions. Thank you very much. Enjoy your Christmas, enjoy your holiday. Have a happy new year.
Thank you.
Great. God bless you all, guys. Thank you for the opening prayer.
Mr. Chairman, if you can stay a bit online, the panelists, if you can stay a bit online.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Panelists can stay online. Let me check whether there is, okay, good.
So, Chair, what is going on?
I am waiting for Pauline to discharge of I think 5 or 10 participants that were in the other way, so that I can deal with the participants. I mean the panelists. We can deal with the panelists.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Now I think we have let go of them.
We have.
But we lost Sarah. We lost Sarah, and I don't see Keith.
Sarah mentioned that her internet was a bit.
No, was giving her problems.
Okay,
She said she's going on and off.
I'm going to call her.
But you can get her on board. Get her.
I'm going to call her. Keith also joined, but then I don't see him anymore.
Oh, okay.
But I can because how can I can't, because this is now being used by the laptop. I can't use it. So I can't boost my.
So
speaker.
I wanted to call them and then.
Hello.
Yes, Sarah, we are still
next to.
Hello.
We are still online.
Hey.
Yes, but we are thinking that we can have you on the phone. The participants are off, and it's now Dr. Kasoma, Dr. Nabanyumia. I also wanted to call Keith and see if he can rejoin.
So who is Mr. Viamukama Samuel?
Remove, there's still one more attendant.
My internet is not good.
There's still one more attendant.
I don't think I can go back. So you want me to be on tomorrow?
Yes, we want
you to be part of us.
To do what?
To stay online.
Stay online.
I mean to stay on this phone, on the phone.
Okay.
Okay, I think he's gone.
Lock the room.
Lock the room. Okay, I'm also going to try and see if I can add Keith.
You can't add when you are locking the room. First open the room and then add.
Do you want us to discuss something?
Yes, I mean, yes, we would like to debrief, Sarah. Hello? Who is that making noise?
Press star 8 for one-time pass, or star 9 or 4 to get a tune at 1,200 per month.
Jonah has failed to lock the room.
Hello? Hi, Keith. We've remained online to do some debrief.
Hello.
Hello. We've remained online to do some debrief after the meeting, but I noticed that you're no longer on. But we can either you can
join again.
Yes, Jonah is joining again. Eh? Maybe 5 minutes. Okay. So yes, Mr. Chairman, I think over to you. Keith is going to try and join online, but I think Sarah can hear us on my phone.
Okay. I think the debriefing is first to thank the board members for participating in this meeting. A stakeholders forum is a very important activity for ECOTRUST because the stakeholders are our general assembly. So it is very important always that we try to be part of it, and the minutes of this meeting are actually very good for acting as a way forward for us. And I can see so many responses that are pulling our legs to think about scaling up activities, moving to areas. And some of the reactions actually may lead to creating more partnerships. I was reading about somebody who is what is Horizon 3000 or something? He was saying he's supporting people and he would wish to know how best he can partner with what ECOTRUST is doing. I think such interactions are very good. So stakeholders forum. And now that we've gone into the activity where most people have got excited, we need to do more strategic planning. So I think that I just want to hear, because of debriefing, your impressions as members about what the outcome from this has been, and whether you have ideas for a better way forward, and then we will talk about the closing remarks and information from our secretariat. Jonah has still failed to close the room.
No, he has closed the room.
No, I don't see the option. I'm manually removing whoever's.
He has removed everybody. We have now just been joined by Keith.
No, we had been joined by Kathy and somebody. But yeah, now you've removed her. Okay, fine. Okay, so any reactions as from what has happened? Because stakeholder forum is a very important forum for us.
Keith, you're muted.
Yes, I think I did participate in some of. Good morning, everybody. Chair.
Good morning,
Dr. Panta, everyone.
Good morning, Keith.
I did participate in the earlier parts, the first 1/3, I think, of the sessions, and listened to some of your presentations, actually 3 of your presentations, Pauline, Dr. Panta, and Chair. I think, and then also looking at the kind of profile of the people who participated in this call. There aren't so many, but sometimes even if there are few, they can be quite influential from where the constituencies they represent, especially even those from the external stakeholders. I noticed quite a few from outside the country. I think I recorded about 7 or 8 from outside the country.
You had dropped off, I just called you back.
Go ahead, Keith. They are doing coordination on the other side.
Yeah, so it's yes, the message is important to reiterate what we do.
Just listen to Keith.
Okay.
The message is important to reiterate what we do and how we do it without giving away too much. The graphics were good. I think that also creates a good picture and showing people exactly what restoration means and in the areas. And it shows the length, the trouble we have taken to really paint the picture. So I think the pictures that were taken, those must have been drawn pictures, Pauline?
Yes, they were drawn pictures.
Yeah, I think that also creates a very good impression on the viewers and the listeners and keeps them interested. It's not easy to keep people interested nowadays on these Zoom calls. So the more we can do, the better. And that was really a step change in all the presentations I've been parted to since this Zoom business began. So thanks to management for that, and thank you to Chair and to Dr. Panta for your contributions. That's really all I can say, but it was a good session overall. Is all I can say for now, Chair.
Good, thank you very, very much. I think it is encouraging and also maintaining. I think the impression is really, it was very good for the Secretariat to maintain a focus that we should actually still hold the stakeholders forum, however, by Zoom, which is very nice because I think then we are keeping on track. Thanks, Pauline, for that. Yes, Dr. Panta, quick reactions?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yes, basically, I think it was much better than I expected. I mean, quite a substantial number of stakeholders have been on board. Outsiders as well as Ugandans from outside Uganda. And I think one cannot say that the technology that has been used has been adopted very widely yet by many organizations. So I think this is a big plus for ECOTRUST to be trying to embrace technology to be able to convey a message despite these, challenging COVID times. So I'd like to congratulate the team for having put this together. I'm sure a lot of thought went into it, and certainly I would support the idea that going forward, we really need to, put on board more and more measures because, okay, COVID is here with us. We don't know when it will eventually depart, but life has to continue as best as we can. And I think technology is one of the ways in which we can do things. And the feedback from the stakeholders was also quite good. The lady from Bushenyi, was sort of talking about their need to diversify into beekeeping and how that is much better than cutting the trees and all that. I think that's a good sign that things are happening out there on the ground. And I think despite that comment of afforestation and rainfall, I think overall things have been good. Yeah, thank you.
Afforestation is causing too much rain. Stop it. That was tough.
Yes, Sarah. I think Mr. Chairman, Sarah wants to say something. Yes. Yes.
Well, I just also want to put in my thanks to the Secretariat and all the people, the board members and all the stakeholders and the farmers. Everybody was involved in this. It was really good. It was excellent. I loved it. And the virtual tour was excellent. And at least my internet got confused when I had seen 3/4 of almost everything. So really, I was very impressed. And I think, thank you for the good job well done. I also want to inform you that I might be leaving. I have to get out of here. I have to leave from my house, so I don't know whether I'll be able to continue. If you have something important that you want me to talk on phone, I think you better discuss it now before I get into the car.
Okay, thank you very much, Sarah. Pauline, Secretariat.
Yes, I just want to thank you for this time around coming in big numbers, and the people that are not here also sent their apologies, but also to apologize that ideally we should have had a meeting before this, but everything was just overtaken by events. And then we also thought that we would probably force one other meeting after this, but maybe let us just break off, because as you can see, we are all scattered all over the place. The staff that are supposed to finalize the reports that I give to you are still in the field. I think that in all fairness, I would like to let the staff go on Christmas, and maybe we should identify a date before the January gets too busy for us to meet, to enable us to have proper documentation and so on and so forth. But there are two things where I needed your approval. Maybe I could send an email. One of them is the business development expert. His contract is coming to an end at the end of December. And I think, I mean, he's worked with Jonah to put this stakeholders meeting together. He has been active. I think that I would like to send a request to have his contract renewed. But then the second and possibly most important is, or I don't know, both of them are very important. We normally give staff a Christmas hamper. I would like to send an email still where I would request for your approval for that. We put it in the budget, and the budget still allows. Just maybe one final communication is that the investment plan that we've developed for Budongo and Bugoma corridor, we have received communication from the Wildland Trust. They're going to give us 500 million, $500,000 US to invest in that. And part of the process is to purchase land, to purchase those forests and hold them in trust so that those corridors will continue existing.
That's good.
Yes. And then
for that.
Yes. Then we also the extension to Mpologoma, it's a partnership with UNDP, and we will be getting about $200,000 US for that from the Austrian, the development arm of Austrian embassy, in partnership with UNDP to do that work in Mpologoma. So we've been very active fundraising, and yes, those are some of the fruits, the very last minute December outcomes that we have received.
Okay.
Yes, good. That's great.
Okay, good.
I have a question, Chairman.
Yes.
This question goes to Pauline. Pauline, how are you doing on COVID now? Are you now, the staff, are they okay? Is everybody okay?
Yes, everybody got everybody who tested positive got what do they call a discharge? Yes, everybody is back. And but we were advised, since we travel a lot, interact a lot, the people that are always on the road should take monthly tests, and the rest of us should be taking tests every 2 months.
Okay.
But we are good. Everybody's okay. Everybody's well.
Okay.
So whoever tested positive has now become negative, right?
Yes,
that's what we need to know.
Yes, they've become negative, and nobody's complaining about anything.
Okay.
Wonderful. Good.
Okay.
Let them take a lot of muni boosters all the time, including yourself. Don't do this stressful.
Even right now, the reason I don't have my Zoom on is because you will not understand the drink I'm having. So.
Chair,
my
just
water
before we
bottle
close,
is full of leaves and things you can see.
Kate wants to leave. Let's
just before,
there are 3 issues. Guys, hold on.
Sorry, just before we close, Chair.
There are 3 key issues that it seems are coming up. So I want us to discuss them.
What are we going to discuss?
I was going to send an email.
Yeah.
But yes.
Okay. You are just going to discuss it, to send an email, all right?
Yes.
Yes.
Via the human resource for the contract renewal. And Christmas hamper to the chair. Okay, fine. You will do that. Investment plan via that as well. Okay, that's
Well,
fine.
investment
Then we
plan
don't-
was for communication, but yes.
Keith, you had something to say?
A few housekeeping issues to do with wrapping up the year, budget for next year, financial statements, the usual issues that we need to close off properly.
Yes. Yes, this time around, we would like to do our audit in February.
So
Even before the
means we are going to meet when? In January or in February?
No, we meet in January because we meet in January. The audit starts in February, but the report will be ready like end of March.
So what I was suggesting is that when you get back, please at least send the date before so that we can be able to organize our programs.
Yes, I would like us to meet second week, or second week is when we are voting, but we can meet.
We can meet before the voting.
We can meet before the voting. I hope anytime during the week is fine. And then I send an email and we give a doodle poll for options and then people put in the second week.
Yep.
For the subcommittees and for the committees and the board.
Okay.
Okay, so second week of January, I will send a doodle poll. Cynthia had a baby girl, so she's on leave.
Oh, congratulations.
Oh, okay. Congrats to her.
So I think Jonah will be supporting the preparations. Jonah is the same gentleman that has put this together.
Yeah, that's fine. Jonah doesn't need any paternity leave or maternity leave. We know that, yes.
I don't know.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I beg to leave.
I think we are done, but yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you so much, colleagues. I think if we don't have any other, because that housekeeping issues has been a very important thing because we need to tie up those loose ends and do the January, so that's fine, we're all set. I think that we're almost on the direction. So thank you very much, colleagues, for the support and for the God bless you guys.
Remember to pray for Dr. Korokoza, he's not well.
Okay, we'll pray.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we'll get in touch with him too.
Okay. And Juliet lost someone. Juliet lost 2 people actually. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, and thank you very much for attending this meeting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for chairing.
God bless you guys. Bye.
Bye.